Carolina Panthers' last day of training camp ahead of the 2025 season was a disaster. Why you guys should be worried headed into the season. All right, hey everybody, I'm your host, Grande Gato, also known as the Big Cat, my 95ers. Let me hear you roar. This is 1995 The Roar, a channel for the fans, by a fan, restoring the roar to the Carolinas, man. If you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, like, share, tell a friend. Let's continue to grow. Thank you guys for over 1,000 subscribers and helping us get monetized fast. Today, we're going to talk about the Carolina Panthers, man. Last day of training camp practice. Well, it was a sight for sore eyes, but it had a lot of drama involved. So we're going to walk into it and tell you guys all about it in the first roar. All right, man, on the first roar here, we're here to talk about the Carolina Panthers. Last day of training camp practice here. So much that went on here. According to the Panthers wire here, the Carolina Panthers got into a altercation amongst each other. It looks like there was a fight that broke out on Tuesday's session between Ikem Ekwonu and Jaycee Horn, and there were a host of other players involved as well. Per Joe Persons of The Athletic here, it seemed that Jalen Croker was thrown to the ground a little bit hard than expected here. I'm not sure. I thought it was football, but hey, whatever. He was thrown to the ground a little harder than expected here. In return, Ikem Ekwonu went to Jaycee Horn and kind of pushed on him, and Jaycee Horn responded by swinging back on him. So here's what your head coach had to say when it came to the incident, and I quote, "We may have pushed the guys a little too hard in the team meeting this morning. They were a little excited today. It got heated towards the end. There was some unbelievable physical plays, some hard runs, safety showing up, some great edge rushes. And they were just kind of in the competitive moment. Tempers flared. We tried to push the guys to the edge. We went a little bit over, but at the same time, that edginess we have to play with. When we have these opportunities, we have to be able to play a physical style of football, and sometimes it goes a little too far," close quote, okay? They said towards the end of practice or after practice, guys were still chirping at one another. Ikem Ekwonu and Horn, back and forth. Chuba Hubbard and Nick Scott, and even Travion Morgan was also speaking, still chattering at the end of practice, okay? Chuba Canales had this to say about the fight. I mean, they kept talking. Chuba came up at the end of practice, and guys were like, hey, we're one big family. It's going to be heated sometimes, but we got to move forward together. So that's pretty much the gist of that. Another take that you guys may not have seen, or maybe you have seen it, was the Carolina Panthers offense to start the day off got off to another slow start, false starts, guys, not being on the same page, just a real sloppy, out of sync practice. And per Joe Persons of Athletic, they say that Bryce Young and Chuba Hubbard stopped practice and chose to do some little exercise, gassers, sprints, whatever you want to call them or whatever. I'm not sure if I honestly believe that. I'm pretty sure Canales did that, but whatever. I wasn't there, so I can't confirm. So maybe Chuba Hubbard and Bryce decided to say, hey guys, let's go do some exercise because we messing up. But here's what you guys should be worried about, okay? We're 3 weeks away from the season, and things that you should be worried about is execution, repetition of plays, right? You only get so many practice hours per NFL bylaws. You only get so many reps. If you're using those reps fighting, jumping on each other, beating each other, or if you're using these reps to do gassers in the middle of play formations, the development and install period, you're wasting reps. I don't want to hear this crap about it being hot outside. There's 31 other teams that are probably dealing with similar, if not worse, situations. I'm pretty sure Florida is probably a lot worse than the temperature in Charlotte, North Carolina. These guys are not focused. These guys are undisciplined. And as I said once before, you practice how you play. It's not a coincidence. You know, if you see a guy or a team that struggles in practice, I'm willing to bet 85 to 90% of the time that team is going to carry that same momentum into the regular season. And as a fan, as a supporter, as the team that I love, you got to have that truth drink. You know what I mean? That's one part of getting better. You got to have a drink of truth. And right now, the truth is this team is not ready. This team is not ready. And unfortunately, we have to honestly start talking about, you know, Dave Canales on the hot seat. Not only because, you know, he hasn't yet to produce, but just the way this organization is being ran, or this team is being ran up under him. You've seen where he literally pulled out the starters after a couple of, 2 bad series, and Bryce threw for 2 plays in the Texans game, and they got demolished. You know, all offseason we've been hearing about penalties and, you know, undisciplined. You know what I mean? And some of this is on the coaching here. He talked about all season long how he wanted to instill toughness, right? There was a quote on one of these articles. I don't know if it was a Charlotte Observer or SI, but they said when they started to fight a little bit, Dave Canales sat back and just kind of smiled a little bit, as if they were accomplishing something. You fighting on each other doesn't mean you're tough. Being tough is being disciplined. Being tough is being smart. When things are not in your favor, when it's hot outside, when you know you're second and long or third and long, you know what I mean? That's being tough, because you're being smart, you're being disciplined. Say, all right, made a mistake, I'm gonna come back from this. Well, that's how you show your toughness. Being smart, being disciplined, right? Overcoming adversity, second and long, third and longs. You know what I mean? Listen. On 2 means on 2, right? Focusing when it's 90,000 degrees outside. That's being tough. If you're going 3 weeks into the season and you're trying to teach your players how to be tough, you lost already, bro. Because toughness can't be taught. It's either in you or not, you know? And you got to be smart. This is a cerebral game just as much as it is a physical game, right? And unfortunately, man, you know, these pre-snap penalties, and we've been hearing about it all training camp, and we've been seeing it in preseason game, and now you're still seeing it here 3 weeks before the season here. I don't care about, you know, Jaycee Horn and Croker, you know, being physical, or Ikem Ekwonu. First of all, shout out to Ikem Ekwonu for, you know, having the balls to go up there and, you know, have Croker's back, right? Because we've seen times in Carolina where your quarterback get thrown to the ground and people just walk around. I remember when Cam Newton got knocked out, what was it, in Atlanta one time? I think nobody did nothing. I think nobody just walked around. I think there was one incident where Torrey Smith stood up for Cam Newton. Shout out to Torrey Smith. But remember one time he got knocked out, people just walked around him. So shout out to Ikem Ekwonu for that. But at the end of the day, this is wasted time, wasted momentum. As far as them stopping practice to do gassers, man, come on, what are we in, high school? This ain't high school, dog. You guys are millionaires. Some of you guys are hundreds of thousands of millionaires, right? You know, you take a 9-to-5er and you say, hey, look, on two. I promise you, say, hey, I got a $500,000 check for you, and it's 85 degrees out, 95 degrees outside. If I say on 2, don't move or you're gonna lose your job, that 9-to-5 is gonna do that, because he know he got mouths to feed. You know what I mean? I think a lot of this team is just comfortable with being mediocre. They're comfortable with being soft, right? And the coaching is suspect at best. You know what I mean? I really think, you know, this is why you paid the big bucks for the Bill Belichick's and the Bill Cowers, and hell, even the Mike Vrabels or the John Grudens of the world, right? You know, you pay guys to come in here and say, hey, this is the way I want it ran. This is the way it's going to be. If not, you're going to get out of here, whether you're a superstar or whether you're just a bench player or a backup player, right? You know, this whole, you know, well, guys, I pushed them too hard. I read the quote here. He was talking about, I pushed them too hard. And then, what do you mean push them too hard? Push them too hard? What do you mean you push them too hard? Let's go out to the parking lot. Let's go out to the players' parking lot, and let's see how many foreign cars we can name. Or let's see how many cars we can name over 100. Push them too hard. That's a Dodge Charger. That's a Hellcat. That's a Trackhawk. That's a Mercedes. That's a Bugatti. That's a BMW. Put too hard. Too hard? Oh, okay. Yeah. 5 and 12 or 4 and 13. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? And we go through this every off season, it's almost like waking up in Groundhog's Day over and over again. You get the same narrative every off season. We go draft somebody high. We expect for them to come in here and make plays. You know what I mean? We're already dealing with tissue injuries on, Hunter Renfrow. Your number one draft pick, T-Mac, is dealing with soft tissue issue, hamstring issues. We got a guy with a collapsed lung who, you know what I mean? The sky is falling. And I don't think you guys even recognize it. We're dealing with a team who can't get hard. I mean, get tough. They're not hard. You're dealing with a team that's not hardened enough. You know what I mean? This team is kind of soft. You know what I mean? Pause. You know, it's just like, man, it's like watching the same movie over and over again. It's like, well, but here's the part where this person gets messed up. And this is what the team is here. And 3 weeks out, this is not what you want to be focusing on, right? You should be repping plays, right? If anything, time and the rhythm should be getting down, right? Toughness and physicality is built early in the offseason. The mini camps, the training camps, early in the training camps, not 3 weeks before the season, right? Slamming somebody to the ground in 95-degree weather heat, that's not toughness. That's just stupidity, okay? So if we're praising toughness as stupidity, then get ready for another lost season. There's nothing tough about that, right? Controlling your ego, listening to the pre-snaps, protecting your teammate, and providing your best foot forward in 95-degree weather, that's smart. That's discipline, right? Doesn't take much. I go right out here and go find two brothers and put a helmet on and say, oh, he hurt you, make him hurt, hit him hard. Come on now. So, man, yeah, you know, this is a walking abomination. I don't know. I just don't have a good vibe this year, man. I don't. But listen, I'm just a guy with a cat on his head. So, man, just, you know, whatever you believe it. I hope for the best. But my expectations are low, and I'm telling you guys to lower your expectations. Not to mean that we're not going to be good eventually. I think they are headed in the right direction for like the second video in a row. I think they're headed in the right direction. But this team it won't be this year, okay? I'm your host, Grande Gato, also known as the Big Cat. My 95er, put your paws up. Let me hear your roar. This has been 1995. The Roar, Restoring the Roar, a channel for the fans, by a fan, restoring the roar in Carolina. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit that like button, share, subscribe. Man, we monetize. We're over 1K. Man, let's keep growing. Join the Discord. We got a nice little fan base in there where we talk offline if you guys want to link up with me or just some of your peers, right? The podcast as well on Spotify. Check that out. We'll be uploading content, more content here soon. All right, get in the comment section. Let me know. Are you impressed by this buffoonery, or do you believe that, you know, hey, man, this is another reason why we're going to be in trouble come the end of the season here? So I don't know, man. Or am I reaching, man? Maybe let me know. Just, you know, thank you guys for the support. I love you guys, 95ers. Let me hear your roar. We up out of here, baby.